Now let's see how can we create parameters for our Terraform template. For case we want to make some parts of resources different for different environments. For example, for development, staging, and production. In those cases, we would want to have my website minus dev and my website minus stage and my website minus prod in website name. In previous example, we had name hard-coded. So now we will see how can we use variables. But first, I would like you to see something else. I have split my template into few files. They all have extension tf, and in file named main.tf, I will store my resources. In file named versions.tf, I will store configuration for my Terraform and provider. For file named variables.tf, I will store my variables. But these names they don't matter much, because Terraform will pick up all the files in your directory you work on and combine everything which is in those files all together as it would be in a single file. So it is just to make things easier for you. So as you can see, there are new sections in my template called variables, and variable have a name. You can pick any name you want, and you need to specify the variable type, and basically that's it. You can read more about variables for Terraform here in Terraform documentation. Here you can see the list of all properties that variable can have. For example, I have variable resource group name, which has type string and has description. And for case when I have variable location, I also have default value. For this resource, for this variable, I don't have default value. So if I apply this template, Terraform will ask for value to be entered. But how can I provide values for those variables, and how can I use it? How can I use these variables in my template? It's very easy. You just refer to these names in your template using var dot and next the variable name. So variable resource group name will refer to the value which is taken from here, but it does not have default value. So when I apply this template, I have to provide it. For location, I will have a value from here, and if I do not provide any value because it's not required, Terraform will use default value from here. So by default, this value will go here. Also, you can see the difference that between this template and previous one in the previous video, that in previous video I had depends on property on my website, and here I do not have it. But instead here I refer to resource group name for website as a name of resource group which is taken from the resource called resource group. So instead of copying and pasting the same value in two different resources, I will just assume that a resource group name belongs to the resource called my resource group of type Azure RM resource group, and I will refer to it from here, like this. So Azure RM resource group, my resource group, name, and same for location. In this case, Terraform will identify that properties from this resource are dependent on this resource. So it will create a graph of dependency so that this resource should be created first and this one should be created second. And now we don't need to have to specify dependency explicitly anymore. Terraform will handle it for us. But let's return to our variables. So we have template, we have definition of variables, and some of them even have default value. How can we provide values for these two variables which do not have default value? If you are a developer, you should consider this as a function. So you have a function called your template, and what this function does, it creates your resources. This function requires some input parameters. Some parameters have default value, but you can override them. Some parameters or variables do not have default values, and in order to call this function, you have to specify these parameters. There are three ways how you can pass values for these parameters. These ways are through command line, so you can do Terraform apply -var and specify key value pair. You can define all your variables as key value pairs in a special file, or you can specify these parameters as environment variables. In this case, your environment variable should start with tf_var_, and next is the name of your variable, and the value will be the value of your variable. And most important, you can combine all these ways. In my case, I have created file which has key values. So this is the name of a variable, and this is the name of variable. These are values. So I have three variables, and one of them has default value, so I will not provide value for it, but I can, and in this case it will be overridden. And for these two variables, I have values from here. So this value will be sent by Terraform to the template through this variable definition into all places where I refer to this variable in my template. How to use it? I have already signed in to my Azure account, so what I need to do right now is to again do Terraform init to make sure that I have a provider called Azure RM. And in order to create these resources, I need to do the following. Okay, how? Let's check. Okay, var file. And the name of our file that contains variables. Okay. Now Terraform will contact Azure through Azure provider and make a plan for our deployment. So now you can see that all the values are successfully passed to our template from here to here. You can see it, right? And also you can see that location and resource group name for static website are taken from location and name from the resource called my resource group. Since these values are available by the time when I apply my template, they are seen here immediately. So I will say yes. And Terraform will trigger this template to create resources on Azure. Now you can see that resources are created. If I want to destroy those resources, I have to call Terraform destroy, and I also need to provide input variables the same way. So now Terraform will take values from this input variable file, put it on top of my template, and compare this template to what I have on my Azure environment. So Terraform identified that two resources need to be destroyed. It asks for my permission, and I say yes. And it will take some time. And it's done. We can go here, refresh the page, and see that these resources are not longer exist. Well, that's it. I think that is not very complicated. If you have any questions or you can correct me somewhere, please put some comment under the video and I will be happy to answer. Thank you.